In the pre-dawn stillness of July 2nd, the sky over Cartysk erupted in fire. 50 kilometers behind Russian front lines, a Ukrainian precision strike ignited 5,000 tons of ammunition. A blast so massive, it registered on American infrasonic sensors over 800 kilometers. The explosion shook the region, rattling windows in nearby villages and sending shockwaves through Russian command channels. But this wasn't just another depot hit. This was a calculated blow to the spine of Russia's warfighting capability. The origins of the strike trace back to late April, when Ukraine's elite 73rd Special Reconnaissance Group began an intelligence campaign deep behind enemy lines. They weren't just watching, they were decoding. Persistent drone surveillance revealed Cartysk wasn't a routine storage site. It was a fifth-class Soviet-era munitions hub, a central artery feeding Russian artillery positions across the Donetsk front. Thermal imaging from high-altitude UAVs detected sustained cooling activity, a red flag that the depot was operating at full capacity. That meant thousands of tons of rockets, artillery shells, and propellant stacked wall to wall. Over the next several weeks, intelligence analysts layered data, drone video, thermal profiles, intercepted radio chatter, and commercial synthetic aperture radar from Sentinel-1 satellites. The radar reflections were unmistakable. Dense metallic mass under the roof confirmed the stockpiles. A structural blueprint of the site began to emerge, including wall thicknesses, corridor layouts, load-bearing nodes, and the location of cooling and electrical systems. The intel team wasn't just planning to destroy munitions, they were going to collapse the facility from the inside out. But Cartysk was no soft target. Russian engineers had built a layered defense bubble around it. P-18 spoon rest, early warning radars for aerial detection, DYOR M2 short-range air defense batteries positioned in overlapping arcs, and a rapid response comms net linked to regional command. This wasn't a gap in the Russian line. It was a fortress. So Ukraine didn't punch through. They switched the lights off at exactly 4:28 a.m. 2 minutes before launch, Ukrainian electronic warfare units initiated saturation jamming across multiple frequencies. The spoon rest radars blinked out. The TOR batteries, reliant on targeting data, lost lock. For those 2 minutes, Cartysk was blind. And that was enough. 6 HIMARS launched M31A1 missiles arced silently through the sky. Each carried a 91-kilogram high-explosive warhead with a steel pre-formed fragmentation jacket. Each was programmed with precise detonation delay, 2 milliseconds after impact. That's all it took. The first warhead breached the outer wall and detonated deep inside the structure. Shockwaves tore through ammunition stacks. Within seconds, a chain reaction began. D-20 artillery shells detonated in racks. Grad rocket pods ignited like fireworks. Stored rockets launched uncontrolled into the air as secondary cook-offs. A mushroom cloud of flame and steel roared into the night sky. Drone footage captured the fireball from multiple angles. Column of smoke and flame rising hundreds of meters. The earth shook. Civilian cameras across the oblast caught the blast's halo as far as Mariupol. The detonation shattered not just the depot, but the surrounding infrastructure. Rail lines adjacent to the blast zone buckled. The Donetsk Love's rail artery, responsible for ferrying ammunition and heavy equipment, was shut down for 7 hours. For the Russian command in Donetsk, the disruption wasn't just tactical, it was systemic. Before the strike, Russian artillery units in the region averaged 5,000 shells a day. Within 72 hours of Cartysk's destruction, the daily volume dropped to 3,900. Ukrainian intercepts recorded complaints of dry tubes from frontline artillery commanders. Supply convoys were rerouted to smaller, less protected depots, increasing transit time, exposure to drone ambushes, and overall inefficiency. Ukraine didn't just destroy ammunition, they broke the rhythm of Russian warfighting. But the blow to logistics was only phase 1. On June 30th, 2 days before Cartysk, Ukrainian precision rockets struck the headquarters of Russia's 8th Combined Arms Army in Donetsk. This was not an accident of timing. It was choreography. The HQ oversaw artillery fire missions, logistics, and electronic warfare coordination across the southern Donetsk axis. The strike was built on weeks of signal intercepts, thermal mapping, and satellite reconnaissance. Ukrainian analysts identified peak hours of activity, confirmed by intercepted radio logs and power grid telemetry. Antenna farms, backup generators, and internal communications nodes were marked. The strike occurred at precisely 11:47 a.m., when all systems were at full load. HIMARS rockets slammed into the central operations room. Seconds later, follow-up salvos destroyed external antennas, generator units, and relay centers. Communications blacked out. Fire support coordination collapsed. Subordinate units scrambled for orders. Radio silence reigned. In the hours that followed, Russian artillery response time slowed dramatically. Frontline units in the southern sector reported gaps in command for over 18 hours. UAV operations were disrupted. Reconnaissance feeds went dark. The effect was not just physical damage, it was a digital decapitation. For Ukraine, the strategy was clear. Don't fight mass with mass. Fight mass with disruption. Targeting ammunition hubs and command centers doesn't just degrade capacity, it saps tempo, confidence, and initiative. Every missed shipment, every confused order, every delayed artillery strike sends a psychological ripple down the chain of command. In the 2 weeks following the Cartysk and Donetsk strikes, Ukrainian brigades recorded a 25% reduction in Russian artillery effectiveness across the Donetsk front. Simultaneously, Ukrainian counter-battery teams began probing deeper, testing Russia's degraded coordination. Field reports from Ukrainian drone operators detailed unusually slow Russian responses. In one documented instance, a Ukrainian recon quadcopter loitered over a Russian artillery battery for 18 minutes without a single shot fired in return, an unthinkable delay just weeks earlier. And morale? Russian soldier communications intercepted in late July told the story. Complaints of no shells, no orders, and radio blackout were commonplace. A single depot strike had reverberated across an entire operational sector. Ukraine's deep strike strategy is more than tactical, it's doctrinal. By combining satellite surveillance, SIGINT, electronic warfare, and precision fires, Ukrainian planners are reshaping how war is waged. These aren't random hits, they're sequenced, layered, and timed to cascade, targeting the arteries of Russian command and logistics. Cartysk was not just a depot. Donetsk was not just a headquarters. They were nerve centers, and Ukraine is cutting the nerves. War today isn't just fought on the front line. It's fought in the shadows, in data streams, in satellite photos, in intercepted signals. And Ukraine, with its Western-backed ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, apparatus, and homegrown ingenuity, is showing how precision and patience can tilt the odds. With Russian firepower blunted and coordination in disarray, the path forward is open, not for mass offensives, but for targeted advances. Ukraine isn't trying to match Russia shell for shell. It's forcing Russia to fight blind, hungry, and confused. Cartysk was the beginning, and the next strike may already be in motion.